Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. At Healthy Steps Nutrition, we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple, habit-based approach when working with clients. We know that helping your clients become the best and healthiest versions of themselves isn't just about what they eat or coming to the gym for an hour a few times a week. We really have to look at a holistic approach, looking at stress management, mindset, exercise, sleep, support system, lifestyle, and of course, nutrition. We help gym owners and coaches build successful, habit-based coaching programs without reinventing the wheel. I'm your host, Nicole Aucoin, registered dietitian and founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring. I'm also the author of The Basics of Nutrition Coaching, CrossFit Preferred Nutrition course. You can find out more information about that course and our mentoring program by clicking the link in the show notes. In this podcast, we are going to teach you how to take one step at a time to becoming the healthiest version of yourself and build a comprehensive habit-based coaching program. I am so excited to introduce today's podcast guest. She is a CrossFit gym owner and a mental health therapist. Her name is Dr. Christina Migliara. She has a Ph.D. in general psychology and master's degree in marriage and family therapy. She specializes in trauma as well as holding a wide host of certifications related to fitness. She has combined mental health and fitness, specifically CrossFit, to have a holistic wellness facility in Jacksonville, Florida. I had the opportunity to meet with her and speak next to her at the CrossFit Florida affiliate gathering and knew that her message needed to be shared to more people. So I'm so excited to have her on today's podcast. Today, we talk about where mental health fits in a gym. What are some signs that you might see as a gym owner and a coach with people struggling with mental health? What you can do to help those people and where you can get them additional and professional help. We also, at the end, talk about one actionable step that gym owners and coaches can take to prioritize mental health within their facilities. You know, obviously, Christina is such a passionate person about mental health, but she really does walk the walk and has combined mental health and CrossFit, which is so amazing to help her community in Jacksonville Beach. We will get to this episode right after this message. Well, one of the 3 big initiatives that we have at HSN Mentoring this year is to provide coaches and gym owners with additional education using a holistic approach. And I'm so excited that we have 2 amazing trainings coming up over the next few weeks. The first one is actually Thursday, February 24th at 1 p.m. and it is with Dr. Danny. He has been around CrossFit for forever. I actually met him at the DDCs, these CrossFit Health affiliate gatherings that were happening prior to COVID. He has such a wealth of knowledge. And we are going to be doing a training on how sleep and stress impact optimal health. This training is open for any gym owner and coach, and we are so excited that you can register for that. You can register to attend live and ask all of your questions to Dr. Danny, or you can catch the recording. He is also the medical director of SteadyMD, which I'm sure most of our listeners have heard of because they've been in the CrossFit space and fitness space for quite some time. The next training that we're doing is actually with today's podcast guest. We are taking a more in-depth approach in regards to the role of mental health within a CrossFit gym or gym in general. This training is going to be on Tuesday, March 22nd at 1 p.m. And we're so excited to take a deeper dive with Dr. Christina. Again, you can register for both of those trainings by clicking the link in the show notes. All right, let's get to today's episode with Dr. Christina Migliara. Dr. Christina Migliara, welcome to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you today. You know, I met you at the CrossFit Florida affiliate gathering. We both had the opportunity to speak, and I heard you talk about mental health inside a CrossFit gym, inside an affiliate, and was like, man, more gym owners need to hear this. And yeah, I'm just excited that we're jumping on a podcast today so that more gym owners can hear this.
Me too.
So I want to first kind of go back to your like high level overview of your story. You started out as a therapist, mental health counselor, and then opened your affiliate. Why did you open up an affiliate after having a successful private practice with mental health?
So yes, I've been a practitioner for 20 years now. And I've absolutely loved what I've done as a practitioner. And like many of us who step foot in a CrossFit gym, my journey with CrossFit specifically started about eight years ago now. And just like everyone else, looking for, a way to improve myself postpartum after my second child, and just wanted to regain that comfort in my body and gain some strength and be fit again, right? What I didn't realize at the time, and what I've learned over the course of the last 8 years, is how amazing CrossFit is within the confines of psychology, right? And so I think about things very differently as a mental health professional, and I see things very differently. So I'm in there and I'm watching everyone doing all this physicality and thinking about all the psychological stuff that's happening while it's transforming around me. And that really led me to think, as I've been practicing and finding myself, telling my clients like, hey, part of your treatment plan is going to be doing all these things, which includes nutrition and rest and exercise, because we know exercise is very beneficial for our mental health. It reduces anxiety, depression by like 30%. And we just see a lot of benefit to it, specifically high intensity. And then just from my own CrossFit experience, seeing how much more comes out of that with the community element added, and just, the coaching piece. I just felt like this was something that I wanted to see more people do. And I felt like as an affiliate owner, I could take my skill set as a practitioner and incorporate the two and really, put that as the foundation of my gym and do it differently. And so I had always envisioned a wellness center. And by this point, I decided I wanted to pursue that as the next stage of my career. And I wanted CrossFit specifically to be the fitness element that I was going to add in terms of that wellness model, because of all of the benefits that I've just seen for myself and others. So I started it, and I made sure that I approached it from a very mental health driven perspective in terms of how I design my gym, how I run my gym in terms of my customer service, and how I train my coaches. And that's what we've been doing for almost 3 years now, amongst the other wellness services that we offer here, which includes my practice. And we also have some rehabilitative services as well as nutrition. And that holistic approach has really proven to be extremely effective and created such a healthy and safe place for people to want to come. Our culture has been incredible, and we just have so much fun, which, like, if you're not having fun, you're just not doing it right.
You guys have such a beautiful facility. And what I think is so cool about CrossFit affiliate owners is we have the opportunity to build our gyms whatever way we want. And
I love that.
Mine is really focused on nutrition and fitness, and yours is so much mental health as the foundation. And you talked about, okay, how you do it from a client's perspective and coach perspective. Can you give me some examples? I'm thinking about one that you brought up during our, during the training that you did, the session that you hosted for all the affiliate owners, but talk to me about one thing that you do for your members in regards to mental health, like to incorporate mental health into your gym.
Okay. So I guess it really starts with, I'll say it starts with me. I make sure that I'm very present. I do have the luxury of my practice being here because I own those two businesses. I'm able to, well, first of all, I kind of walk the talk, right? So if I'm in my office and I'm seeing clients during my breaks, I get to go out there and say hi to my people. And I love it. And that's my break. That's my opportunity to get some fresh air and stand and move as well. So I want them to see that, essentially anything I can tell them, I'm willing to do myself. So that's really important. I try to emulate that leadership and humanize what we do out there. So connecting is a better way of saying it, I guess, really connecting and treating people like humans. I make time to talk with them a lot. It's not hard for me being a therapist. I talk a lot, and being Italian, that's really not hard. So I really enjoy being able to connect with them. I ask them questions. Hey, how you doing? How's your day? I even take that a step above and tell them things that I remember they told me the first time they met me, for example. And they're taken back by that because they're like, oh, she was actually paying attention and like remembered that about me. It individualizes them. So being able to individualize people within a community, making them feel special, but also inclusive is very challenging. It's a communication skill and one that we need to be working on to refine, because at the end of the day, first and foremost, these people who walk through the store, they want to have a safe place to work out in, not just physically safe, but emotionally and socially safe, because there's a lot of anxiety that is very prominent right now. And if you can't help make them feel welcome, they're never coming back. And that's a shame, because they might never even venture back out to a gym if they have a bad experience. And that's not what we want. So being able to do that is really important. It's probably the one thing that I'm extremely adamant about. And not only do I emulate that, but I ensure my coaches do that as well.
I think that's so important. And I think it's one thing that really separates CrossFit gyms from like the Globo gym, right? Like we do know all the personal details from our members. We build those relationships. We know about their kids and their families and work and whatever member just got engaged and married and is pregnant and all these things. Like we know all of this stuff. Like, hey, it's not about you. You're in the business of serving people, and
Correct.
Let's care about those people. I remember one of the things, and then we'll switch gears from a gym owner to a coach side. One of the things that you showed us was like, hey, we have these little welcome bags, or these little like bags if someone's having a bad day, like you give them something just to make them feel like, hey, I care about you and I'm here for you. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about those bags.
So it was actually another client member who came up with that idea, which I loved. I'm always about, cool ideas and doing unique things. And if you're having a tough day, we give you this little bag that's got some fun little things in there. And it's just a little statement that just tells you, like, it normalizes, right? It normalizes the situation that you're not alone, that everybody goes through tough days, and tough days don't last. Tough people do. And you got this. And if you do need to talk, we're here. It's creating and bridging that connection, because if people feel safe with you, they're more willing to open up to you and tell you things. And if you can't reach them on the mental level, you're never going to get them to transform physically, right? They don't trust you. They can't connect with you. Good luck trying to, help them reach a goal of a physical goal of some sort, whether it's losing weight, whether it's gaining muscle, whether it's hitting a movement. It doesn't really matter. You have to be able to have that connection first. So mental health first, physicality, PRs, gains, all of that, that's secondary. That's a natural progression of being very much connected to your people. So we use those bags as an option, when we see people having a tough day, we just kind of let them know we're thinking about them. And we send out, cards. We do a couple different things, and they just absolutely love it. They're like, oh my God, thank you for, again, it goes back to being seen. Thank you for seeing me.
I think there's fundamental things that every person wants. They want to be seen. They want to be heard.
Correct.
They want to be loved. And if you can facilitate some of those things within your box, like how impactful will that be to that person's life? Like I'm thinking about it right now. Like if I walked into my gym and I was having a really crappy day and they're like, hey, I see you. Here you go. Like have a better day. Like how could you not have a better day walking out of that with like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah. And, the world is tough right now, and people have, homes and other environments that they feel stuck in. And so if they can come in here and I can create a world, or I should say we, my coaches included, because they're the leaders among me. And if we can create an environment that makes them feel like this world is better, and they can forget about that world for a moment, for that hour, then I did what I'm supposed to do. That means the world to me. They can leave here with a smile, and it just might be the difference that is made in their day. Maybe it's because it's how they're starting their morning, could be how they're finishing their day, so the gym becomes the thing they do before they go home. And because they were able to come in and have a good experience and change that around, because maybe work was just terrible that day, Now they're going to go home and they're going to walk through the threshold of their home, and they're going to be different towards their spouse and their children now, just because they were able to turn it around here first, as opposed to going straight home, not having that peace. And then they're in this mood, and now everything's getting taken out and projected onto their family, and they don't even get to enjoy each other like they should.
I think
it's huge.
It's so impactful. All right. I want to switch gears a little bit. As a gym owner, I think you're the leader of your tribe, right? And
Correct.
What you emphasize trickles down to your staff, which trickles down to your members. Talk to me about how you bring your staff together to also prioritize mental health.
So I'm very connected with my staff. I make sure, again, they know that they can come. It's not much different than I do with our members. My staff knows that if they need me, they can call me, they can text me. We are readily communicating. I make them feel a part of the process. This is not, I'm some dictator and I'm like giving a bunch of orders and like, now go out and coach and do these things for me. No, like we come up with solutions together. We talk things out. We will sit down for regular coaches meetings. I have individual meetings with them. We even do fun things, in between, and we call them just connecting days, where we just go do something fun and give us an opportunity to just be humans and connect. And that's really important because they're humans too. They want to be seen too. They want to be heard. They want to be loved. They want to feel valued and appreciated. And if they don't feel valued and appreciated, then they're not going to be able to do their jobs. So my job is to be able to do that. We talk about mental health. They know that I'm a practitioner. I'm constantly spatting out different one-liners and different things, and they chuckle and we have a laugh. And it's like, you guys know, where this is, the mental health side of me, and they just start laughing because they just know, but they love it. They absolutely love it. And I'm really big on giving and re-emphasizing the importance of choice. This may be something that you haven't heard and is a little bit different, but I tell them often, I was like, look, I want you to be here. I want you to be a part of this. I hope that you share in the same vision, mission, and values, because we have that. You've got to have that, right?
Oh.
And we have that, and I want you to share that with me. If you don't, this is not the place for you. And I make it very clear. I'm like, you have a choice to be here, just like I have a choice to hire you and work with you. You have a choice to be here and work with me as well. So this goes both ways. And I try to normalize that because if people feel like they don't have a choice, even though technically they do, because people aren't possessions, right? We don't own members and we don't own coaches. But you have to say it in a way that makes them feel that way and inclusive. Language matters. Language is very big. And I'm very cognizant of the language that I use with my members and with my people. I don't yell. I don't curse. I don't demean. I'm all about empowerment and inclusivity. And they know that. They know at any point that if they don't want to be here anymore, there's the door. They could go do something different. And that's huge, because once you give people the power of choice, they go, well, okay, cool. But if you tell someone, hey, you can't do that, you have to do this, they go, don't tell me what to do, right? Whether it's actually saying that or not saying that. So we talk about those kinds of things and just a lot of conversation, really just talking about how you're doing, how are you feeling, how's home life. I'm very big on boundaries. Hey, I know you love the gym. The gym loves you, but this is part of your life. It's not your whole life. Make sure you're making time for yourself, because a lot of people do not practice what they preach. So I want to make sure that they understand the importance of balance and boundaries. Those are very big words for me, and I talk about them a lot. And we also talk about hard conversations. And I always tell them, hey, do we need to have any hard conversations? And they'll tell me no or yes. If we have to, we have hard conversations, because the only way we fix things and the only way we get through things is having conversations about tough things. And if people feel like they can't have hard conversations because you won't be willing to listen, or you'll get mad or upset, they're not going to tell you anything, and then you can't improve your gym. So there's a lot that goes into it. It requires a lot of conversation, I will tell you.
I think what I'm hearing from all of that is you're intentional about making time for your staff individually so that they can feel heard and they understand where they fit into the bigger vision of how you're going to impact more people in your community in Jacksonville. And they are bought in because they are heard and they're a part of the conversation, and you're intentional with it, which is really amazing. I want to shift some gears here. We touched on this slightly, but mental health illness is on the rise. Like if you look at pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, more people now are struggling than ever. What are some signs, if you're a gym owner or a coach, what are some signs that you might see that people are struggling, and what can you do to help them?
Yeah. So again, that goes back to knowing your people. If you're visible and you know your people, you know what to look for and you know what they look like on the daily. So if there's a change in behavior, you're going to recognize that. Sometimes those changes manifest differently. Sometimes people shut down and sometimes people get loud and aggressive. So we want to be able to understand the differences and know that sometimes behaviors don't manifest how we think, like there's something more going on there. So being connected to your gym is really important because if you're not, then you're not going to be able to pick up on those subtleties. Now, I have a little bit of an advantage that even if I have to be away for a little bit and I do come back, because I understand human behavior very well and body language because of the nature of what I do, I can pick up on things a little bit more than maybe your average gym owner. But as a gym owner, who doesn't have that, which is going to be the vast majority of people, you have to be in tune to these things, which one requires you to be in tune to yourself. If you're not doing it for yourself, it's going to be really hard for you to pick up on others. But being able to like pull them aside and have a conversation and say, hey, what's going on with you? Talk to me a little bit, making that time after class. Because you never want to call people out you don't call people out. That's shaming and it's demeaning, and we don't do that. So pulling them into your office, pulling them outside, whatever it needs to be, and just having a little bit of a moment with them to connect and see how they're doing. That's really important. So you want to be on the look for that. Anxiety is very visible, right? There's a lot of times that you can see somebody visibly being anxious because they are maybe picking at their skin, twiddling, moving, shuffling, looking around, maybe visibly trembling. Some people get blotchy. There's a lot of that goes on. So being able to recognize those changes and then again, like without shaming or calling them out, because that is very uncomfortable and they're already uncomfortable, pulling them off to the side and saying, hey, are you okay? What do you need? Talk to me a little bit about what's going on in your head right now. Those kinds of things are going to go a long way so that you can get to the root of what might be actually happening in that moment. And then you can take the necessary steps to try to alleviate that.
That's all really, really great tips. Okay. So let's say you identify someone like, okay, I've got this person in my gym, Susie, and she's showing the things that you just said, and she is not normally showing them. What I take her outside and I say, hey, what's going on? You're struggling, or what's going on? How can I help you? What would be the next step? Like, when is the line to say like, hey, do you need some professional help? Or what do you do as a gym owner to guide someone to get professional help instead of saying like, hey, do you need some professional help?
Sure. You don't have to say it in those words, right?
Yeah.
So Susie says, yeah, I'm going through a really tough time. Work's been really stressful. Home life, maybe I'm going through a divorce, whatever, insert life issue. You can just simply say, that sounds really heavy, and maybe you should unpack that a little bit. Like, you could hear, well, so that'll go into something else I'll offer, but like, have you considered talking to someone about that? That sounds like you're carrying a lot around, especially if they like start just vomiting all kinds of things to you. And it's like a 10, 15-minute conversation. It's like, wow, that's a lot. I can totally understand how you might be feeling the way you're feeling. Validation. That sounds, like a lot in your head going on. Maybe, have you thought about talking to someone about that? I think, it could be really helpful for you, and just normalizing that. Like, everybody could use some extra help, just like you come into the gym and we support you here. Therapy might be a great added support for you, for your mental well-being. I just want what's best for you. Reassurance, care, concern, those types of things. You don't have to be like, well, yeah, you need some professional help, right? Because then
yeah,
we're just shaming at that point. We're being a little bit condescending.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that has people come up to us, Jason and I, at the gym often, and I think part of it is because we were pretty open of like, hey, we've struggled in the past, and we want people to understand like, hey, if you're struggling, come talk to us and we can guide you to someone who can help you.
Yeah.
If that is a step that you want to take. And I know not people are, a little bit more private than others, but I know that personally for our gym has helped so much with people feeling comfortable talking to us. Cause I think sometimes as a gym owner, people put you on this like level of, oh, you don't struggle, like everything's fine, everything's great for you. And then when you're like, hey, we all struggle here, we all are dealing with our own stuff, and no matter how great it looks on your highlight reel on Instagram, like we all struggle, so like it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. And again, if it's part of your, daily conversation, in that, like, not necessarily that you're doing some kind of poll and saying, okay, who needs help today? We all need to talk about mental health. I mean, it doesn't have to be so overt, but just little nuances that kind of normalize it, like you said. And yeah, you're right. Not everybody is willing and to be more public about their experience. Some people are more private, and that's fine too. Um, so a cool way of doing it is storytelling, right? If you don't want to disclose about yourself, you can always say, hey, look, like, I had this friend who was really struggling, and he was battling depression, and he went and, he saw a therapist, and he told me that it really helped him, and now he's thriving, and he's doing this, and this. And it could be your story without it being your story. Do you know what I mean? Like, tell it through a story, because people, they see that and it makes them feel hopeful again. They can understand that beginning, middle, and end piece, bring it full circle. They're like, oh, wow, that's awesome. How's he doing now? Oh yeah, well, he's thriving. He's got this successful business, but he knows that it's not without, making sure he's taking care of himself, and just reiterating that. So you can kind of extrapolate that as sort of an external story that you tell without having to make it about you. And that's one way of conveying the message as well.
I think that's a really good idea for people who, just in general, right? Like,
yeah,
because it also normalizes it. Like, hey, you're not alone. And other people have told me this too. And here's the ending of their story. That's where probably you want to be, not in a place of struggle right now. I think I want to go back to the point of what you said. If someone is struggling in your gym, validating, hey, it's okay. Like, we all struggle. We all have tough days and seasons, and you will get through this. You said a quote, tough days don't last, tough people do. And I think that's an awesome way to kind of validate what's going on. And then positioning, hey, have you ever considered talking to someone? Hey, do you need a recommendation of, someone? Like, I'd love to, because I think we've actually brought this up in our mentoring group and staff, with our staff. And a lot of the common things that I hear are people, I don't know where to start when finding someone. So like, as a gym owner, can you have a referral network? Like, not everyone is going to be a great fit for every person, but can you have a referral network as a gym owner that you can say like, hey, here are some people, like, take a look at these people, instead of the large internet of people. Like, what is something that gym owners can do to, you said, hey, have you considered it? And someone says, no, but I think that's a good idea. All right, now what?
Yeah. So that's a great point. Now you had me, I was just thinking about that. So one of the things that we did at our gym, and, again, not every gym has a mental health practitioner in their gym. I mean, that's probably a rarity. I get that. However, one thing that you can do is connect with a local mental health professional, and see about creating resources. So either you connecting with one person who kind of helps you with this project, or you essentially doing the work, if you understand the difference of the credentials, because people can get lost and not quite knowing the terms. So that's why I say maybe connecting with someone who does know, and being able to say, hey, would you be willing to help me create this referral list? So what we did here, we actually have a referral list, because even though we have practitioners in here, the ethical, transparent, responsible thing to do is to give people choice and say, yes, you can come here and see some of our people, but we don't specialize in everything, number one. And number two, you may not be comfortable. We want to make sure you have the freedom to choose who you want to go to. It's always about giving the member choice. So we have, maybe like 5 different pages. I happen to be part of the Northeast Florida Facebook page for practitioners, mental health practitioners. So it was a little bit easier for someone like me, but maybe you have somebody who's part of something like that down by you, or in your area, that you can connect with. And I simply just said, I own a gym. I want a referral list. If you want to be on my list, send me your name, your contact information, your areas of specialty. And I had a ton of responses, and I literally just copied and pasted all of that into a Word document and I list out, the practitioner's name and credentials, their contact information, and their areas of specialty, so that I could essentially list it out. So when you look at the list, you know exactly what this person works with, because everybody has different areas and we don't all do the same thing. And I can hand that person that list like, hey, yeah, I do want to get some off. Okay, great. Here's this list. Look through it. These people have said they are taking new clients right now. You can see there's areas of specialty. Find one that you think resonates with you. Check out their website. You want to make sure it's a good fit, make some phone calls, and that's a good start. If you need some more help and nothing comes up on the list, let me know. So that's one thing that you can do. Also, being able to just know some of the non-emergency referrals, like SAMHSA. That's they have a national helpline. It's a free, confidential 24/7 treatment referral and information center. They're located everywhere. They can help you find a provider anywhere. And I can give you that number if you need it. 1-800-662-4357. If anybody wants to write it down, and somebody can call that number at any point in time and they'll help you find a provider.
I think that's a really good point. I think when people are looking for help, it could be overwhelming to not know where to go to find the help they're looking for. And if you can make it easier as a business owner to give them a place to go to, hey, these people I know and trust, I think that's a great step for you to help set your people up for success. And this kind of leads me to my last question, but actionable steps for gym owners. So I think from my biggest takeaway, going back to the very beginning thing that we talked about, hey, like connect with your people so that you can see signs if there's something going on and they're changing a little bit. But what would you say, gym owners or coaches listening to this podcast, what is one actionable step they can take to prioritize mental health inside their gym?
I think it goes back to being able to interweave it into your daily conversations, right? Humanizing, letting everyone know that you're a human too, having those conversations interwoven. We do it very strategically. We don't always, sometimes I might just start a class with, hey, how's everybody doing today? How's your week going? How's everybody's mental health going? Or, I'll reframe it a bunch of different ways. So asking the question, making your rounds, right? I tell my coaches, pick one person each class that you hadn't talked to in a while, check in on them after class 5 minutes, right? So that way you essentially make your way around. Or we also have on our coaches chat, because we have a group chat that we speak to regularly about anything that comes up when it comes up. We call it sort of like our at-risk list, or, you could call it your, whatever you want to call it. But anytime we notice something, we'll put it on there and say, hey, keep an eye on so-and-so. She disclosed this, or she's going through a tough time. Keep it general, because we don't want to violate their privacy either. If they're confiding in us, we don't just go saying everything, even to each other, but we may just generalize it and say, keep an eye if they end up in your class, make them feel a little bit more connected and welcome and things like that. So I think just, as leaders, you have to be paying attention, you have to be connected, and you have to be communicating amongst your leadership team to know what's going on with your members and constantly talking about that. Like that would be the first, easiest, biggest change I'd make, is just that leadership communication.
Absolutely. So we use something called Slack. I don't know what you guys use, but I think there's a lot of different platforms out there to make it easy to have communication channels with your coaching staff so that you can be in the loop and it doesn't get lost in a bunch of different conversations or schedule changes or all the other things. So we have like different Slack channels based on general communication, injuries, new members, all the different types. But if you don't have something like that in place in your business, Slack is a great resource to use. I love that. Dr. Christina, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I know you are personally so passionate about mental health and helping gym owners understand how to incorporate this, because it is such an important aspect with mental health illness on the rise. There's a huge role that affiliate owners can play. And I love that you're kind of leading the charge and helping gym owners understand not only about the issue, but how to take action to help support their communities.
Well, thanks for having me. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, it's inevitable. It's going to walk in your gym. And if you don't take the time to invest in the knowledge on this topic, just like you do in being a coach or, being a business owner, it's going to affect your business in a negative way. So if we want to make sure that we are essentially retaining our members and having a good quality customer service experience at our gyms, it's our responsibility to be educated on all fronts. And you don't have to be a therapist and a mental health professional to have some basic knowledge to help your gym be successful and help your members be successful, because mental health is health. And if we're going to help them physically, we got to help them mentally, or they'll never get to those physical gains we're trying to help them with.
Love it. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Dr. Christina Migliara. I'm so excited to continue the conversation with her to support gym owners so that we can all have more tools in our toolbox so that we can make a bigger impact in our community. At the end of the day, we all opened up gyms and wellness facilities because we want to help people make health a way of life. We want them to walk out of our gym in a better place than they walked in our gym. We want it to be the best hour of their day. And some of these little things that she was talking about can make such a world of difference. So join us for that continued conversation on Tuesday, March 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can join the training live or catch the recording by registering. You don't want to miss it. When I think about the conversation that we had today and listening to her back a few months ago talk to more gym owners, one of the biggest things that I took away is our role as gym owners to empower our staff and really prioritize the communication and the connection, the ability that we have to really foster those communities within our affiliates. We want people to be the healthiest versions of themselves, and you can't be physically the healthiest version without being mentally healthy. And we need to destigmatize mental health. We need to help people connect them with resources and tools so that they can get the help that they need. We need to understand where our lines are as gym owners and coaches, where we need to guide people to get that additional support without shaming or making them feel bad. Hey, we all struggle. We're all going through different things. And some people are more prone to mental health illness, anxiety, depression than others. But I can tell you from personal experience that when you're in the middle of it, man, does it suck. But you can get help. You can get support. And I think we can be that place to help those people get help. One thing that really drew my attention when we were talking a few months ago, and then she again brought it up in today's podcast, was those little bags. Like, imagine if you were a gym owner or you were a client of a gym and you were having a bad day and you walked out and someone gave you a bag that said, hey, hope you have a better day. Or even a personalized card that you got in the mail, or even just a quick, simple message, hey, just checking in on you. I hope you have a better day. Those little connections that we make a world of difference to let people know that we see them, that we hear them, that we care about them. I think that's the beauty of these boutique fitness facilities. The beauty of a CrossFit gym is the power of a CrossFit gym is in the community, and that community starts with gym owners and coaches. So don't underestimate your responsibility and the impact that you can have when you do prioritize mental health. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to rate our podcast, leave us a review so that this podcast can reach more people. If you are looking for more information about Dr. Christina and ways to get in contact with her, please click the link in the show notes, and we're going to have a couple links for you to be able to get in contact with her. So excited to do more stuff with her as we provide coaches and gym owners more tools to prioritize mental health in the coming year. We'll see you back here next week.